Checking Wednesday's daily math. The first question asks you which model correctly represents the problem. So we need to make sure that the problem is correct and that the model correctly represents the problem as well. So if I look at option 1, I have 5/10 minus 1/10 equals 5/10. So if I have 5/10 and I take one of those away, that would not equal 5/10. That would equal 4/10. So I know that option 1 can't be correct. If I look at option 2, the problem says 6/10 minus 1/10 equals 5/10. If I have 6/10 and I take 1/10 away, I would have 5/10 left. So let's look at the problem and see if it's at the model and see if it's modeled correctly. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces shaded, but it's showing that they've taken 1, 2, 3 pieces away, and we're left with 3. So that does not correctly model the problem they gave us. If we go into option 3, 6/10 minus 1/10 equals 3/10. We know that's not correct because we just solved that. 6/10 minus 1/10 is equal to 5/10. So I know that option 3 is not going to be correct. So let's check option 4. 6/10 minus 1/10. If I have 6/10 and I take 1/10 away, I will have 5/10. So we're going to check our model. They shaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces are shaded. There's 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces in the hole. So we did start with 6/10 shaded. They took away 1/10. That's shown by the diagonal lines going the other way. So that part's correct. And we can count there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10 left. So option 4 is the correct answer. Number 2, we have a rectangle that's 9 centimeters by 7 centimeters. It wants us to find the area and the perimeter. So to find area, we know we're going to multiply the length times the width. To find the space inside, so to find the area, I'm going to do 9 centimeters times 7 centimeters. 9 times 7 is 63. So my answer for the area is 63 square centimeters. Remember, area is measured in square units because I'm actually measuring the number of squares that are inside the shape. To find perimeter, I'm going to add all the sides. So if this side is 9 centimeters, I know the opposite side is also going to be 9 centimeters. And if this side is 7 centimeters, then this one's going to be 7 centimeters as well. So perimeter is going to be my length plus the other length plus the width plus the other width. I know 9 plus 9 is 18. 7 plus 7 is 14. Then if I add those together, 4 plus 8 is 12. Let me regroup the 1 over to the 10s. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So my perimeter is going to be 32 centimeters. And perimeter, remember, is just in regular units, not square units, because I'm measuring the line or the distance around. Area is measuring the number of squares inside. Perimeters measuring the distance around the outside. All right, number 3. Find the correct fraction, decimals, and word form for this model. And there may be more than one correct answer per row. All right, so if I look at my model, I know from using base 10 blocks that that's going to be broken into 100 equal pieces. I could also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 going across. If I count how many I have going down, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 rows of 10. So 10 times 10 will be 100. So we know there's 100 small squares inside. So I need to know, we'll start with the fraction or fractions. We need to know how many are shaded out of the 100. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns shaded with 10 in each. So I know that 9 times 10 is 90. That tells me that 90 of the 100 are shaded. So I need to check, sorry, not 90 tenths, 90 hundredths. But let's look at this. What if I made the smaller, the crossways, these, if I made those disappear, and instead of having 100, what if I took my figure, sorry, I didn't mean to flip the screen there, and I made equal rows. There's 1 equal row, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I have 10 equal parts. And if I look at that, there's, of the 10 columns that I have now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 10 equal rows. So we have an equivalent fraction. 90 100ths is equivalent to 9 tenths. So those are going to be my 2 fractions. Now I'm going to look for my decimals. If we name this fraction right here, the first one that we came up with, we called that 90 hundredths. So we're going to talk about place value that's smaller than 0 or smaller than 1s. Okay, so if this 0 right here is in my 1's place value, I've got a decimal point. It just looks like a period. And the place value after the decimal is called the tenths. So if I look at my 2 fractions, I have 90 100ths and I have 9 tenths. So in the tenths place value, I'm going to have a 9. I look at my model over here. I have no whole figures shaded in, and I have 9/10 of 1 shaded. So here's the decimal that says 9/10, 0 holes, a decimal point, and a 9 in the 10ths place. After my 10ths place value, the next smaller place value is the hundredths. And if I look at this first fraction that I came up with, I had 90 hundredths. So we would write that 0 decimal point, 9 in the 10ths place, and 0 in the hundredths place. So I'm going to check that option as well. Now we're going to look at the word form. And just like when we're writing the word form of whole numbers, when we write word form of fractions and decimals, we say it just the exact way that we would read the number. So if I read this first fraction, that's 90 hundredths. If I look at my options, I have 9 hundredths. That's not the same. I have 9/10. That's not the same as 90 hundredths. And I have 9/10. And that's not the same as 90 hundredths. So I don't have a word form that matches that. So we're going to go on to our second option. In this one I have 9/10. So here is the option for 9/10. Notice it has an S at the end, where your last column does not have an S, so that's not correct. All right, we'll do a lot more of those. That's just a quick introduction to decimals, fractions, and word form. All right, we're going to go on to number 4. And compare the numbers 36 hundredths and 8/10. If I look at my shaded models, I can see that 8/10 has way more of the space shaded. So I will say 36 hundredths is less than 8/10. And the last one, number 5. We're identifying the fractions on the number line. So my number line starts with 0 and goes to 1. I need to see how many equal spaces I have between 0 and 1. So to get from here to here, there's 1. Here's another space. That's 2. Another space makes 3. Another one is 4. Another makes 5. And then to the 1 makes 6. So there's 6 equal spaces between 0 and 1. So I know that my number line is broken into sixths. I'll write that over there. So from 0 to A is going to be 1/6. So A equals 1/6. To get from A to B, I'll go another 6th size space. So B is going to be equal to 2/6. To get from B to C, I'm going another 6th size space. So that will be 3/6. But I don't have an option that says 3/6. So if I think about 3/6 and I visualize that on my number line, I've got from 0 to 3/6 right here. And then from 3/6 to 1, I can see that that split my number line in half. 3 is half of 6. 3/6 is equal or equivalent to 1/2. So for C, we'll mark 1/2. Now I need to find D. From 3/6 or 1/2 to D is another 1/6. So D is going to be equal to 4/6. And that's the end of today's daily math. Make sure you get all of your other work done and have a good rest of your day.